Anastasia Mann, president of Hollywood Hills West Neighborhood Council, and then Jim Van Dusen with Hollywood United Neighborhood Council. So I'm going to hand the microphone to Anastasia first. You okay?
Thank you, Sheila. And hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of the Hollywood Hills West Neighborhood Council stakeholders. I know there are many of you here. We share part of Lake Hollywood with Hollywood United, and we're very, very dedicated to this park and the community. And if you are living within Hollywood Hills West, which is both sides of the 101 in Hollywood Hills, and also the flats, we go all the way to the Burbank border, all the way to the Studio City border at Lancashire and Ventura Boulevard, all the way to the West Hollywood border, the north side of Hollywood, I mean, it's huge. And we've got a map over there, but you can sign up to be a stakeholder and receive notices of our meetings and all of the various events that we do together or on our own. And it's very, very important to know about these things and to be part of the community. So we do have a booth right behind you, all the way on the right, and a big banner that says Hollywood Hills West and a map, so you can tell whether you're within our side or the hunk side. But thank you very much. We've shared a lot of scary stuff lately with these fires, and the Runyon Canyon Waddles Park fire that they called Sunset Fire. We had a lot of trouble with evacuation, that's a big conversation everywhere today, and that's why we're all here. So I just want to thank you and welcome you, and please participate in your neighborhood council. We need your voices and your votes, and I'm really proud to see you all here. Thank you very much. Jim?
I'm Jim Van Dusen, President of Hollywood United Neighborhood Council. Our area goes from Barham Boulevard to Western Avenue. We start south at Hollywood Boulevard, run up through the Hollywood sign, and we share Griffith Park with the other neighborhood councils around it. Our committees include housing, homelessness and public safety, planning and land use management, infrastructure, outreach, and special committees as needed. One of our special committees was the ad hoc Hollywood sign report that has been used as a basis for the CD4 recent committee on studying how to handle the issues around Lake Hollywood with the traffic, tourism, etc. We meet once every month. The board meeting's the second Monday of every month at 6:30. We're at the Los Angeles Fire Department Annex on Bronson. All meetings are open to the public for your input, and we encourage you to get involved in the areas that most interest you. Supporting worthwhile community events such as this Wildfire Preparedness Fair is part of the Neighborhood Council's purpose, in addition to being a conduit for public comment to elected Los Angeles city officials. Your input and participation in Neighborhood Council activities and meetings is extremely important, as we are dealing with so many extraordinarily difficult issues in the Hollywood area, and no one person has all the answers as to how to resolve the problems. So I request, get involved with your neighborhood council. Put your 2 cents in. We're dealing with some really serious issues. The evacuation issue was a big one. When Beechwood Drive, the top part of Beechwood Drive self-evacuated when the Sunset Fire took place. But what we saw in the news was the fact that Franklin was jammed and all the streets coming out of Runyon were jammed. We couldn't get out of Beechwood Canyon. We would be trapped. So my wife and I packed. We were ready to go, but we didn't. Thank goodness, knock on wood, we didn't have to go. But this is a big issue. We're all dealing with it. So get involved. It's very important. You don't sit back and think that us volunteers can solve this. We don't have all the answers. We need all the help we can get. So appreciate it. Appreciate this fair. It's a good way to get more information around. And I'll cut this short since you don't need to hear any more from me. We need to find out how to handle the fires. Thank you.
I think this is something that you're going to get a lot out of. This is MySafeL.A. We have the Chief of Wildfire Operations, Captain of Wildfire Operations, sorry, gave you a promotion there. So we have Dante Cornejo, who's going to talk to us a lot about some of the things that are happening from Sacramento, legislation, what's going on, and after that we're going to have a break, and after that we'll hear from the chamber, and then another very important speaker talking to us about insurance. So I'm going to hand over the microphone right now to Captain Cornejo.
All right, hello everyone. I'm gonna get my notes out. There's a lot that we're gonna go over, so give me a few seconds. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, the Hollywood Hills Fire Safe Council, for having us. My name is Dante Cornejo. A little bit of my background: I'm a former wildland firefighter with the Forest Service. I've been fought several seasons, most prominently with the Palomar Hotshots down in the Cleveland National Forest. I've been an EMT for the past 7 years as well, working on and off the ambulance, and I'm a recent graduate with my bachelor's degree in fire administration. So I've been a part of MySafeL.A for about 1.5 years now, and I've been overseeing our wildfire operations in terms of resiliency, reaching out to different communities to get them engaged. So I've been in touch with Charles and Sheila for a while now. One of the most prominent things that we've done with them is do a community threat assessment for each of the 4 communities that are within the Hollywood Hills Fire Safe Council, which I'll go ahead and discuss kind of what those, kind of what we found, what the most common threats are within each neighborhood, and kind of what to focus in on if you are within those neighborhoods in terms of resiliency and kind of what to take a look at within your property. And when I discuss this is as a neighborhood as a whole, based off each individual home. So every home plays a part in this, and I really want to emphasize that. So when we talk about resiliency, it's you doing your part and also engaging with your neighbors and educating them and kind of explaining why it's so important. And ultimately, it kind of starts with us here, learning about it today, and then going home and talking to your neighbors about what you've learned and how to reduce the risk from wildfire. So that's kind of how it's going to go. So I'll start with the Lake Hollywood Estates because that's where we are right now. So who went with me on that? That was going to be Sheila and Lisa. We took a drive around the Lake Hollywood Estates here. We took a look at all the homes. A lot of the common vegetation types within this area, so this is like a lot of like the trees and brush and stuff, are going to be your junipers, your pines, your palms, a lot of ivy and mulch within the area. And so when we do these threat assessments, it's based on several different things, several different categories. A lot of them is based off of the home itself. So what the roof is made out of, the siding. So is it wood shingle? Is it stucco? We're looking at the vents as well in terms of, is it a 1/4 inch mesh screening on the vent, which is the most common mesh screening, or is it a 1/8 inch, which is the current recommendation in terms of mesh screening that is recommended. And then we're also kind of looking about around the debris in terms of, is there a lot of debris on the roof that we can see, that we can clear off in terms of leaf litter, pine needles? Is there leaf litter, pine needles within the gutters? And what are the gutters made out of? Are they made out of vinyl? So vinyl is going to be oil-based, right? So if there's a lot of heat, it's going to melt down. It's going to melt onto your property, potentially ignite things around your home. Or is it made out of metal? So we want to take a look at those different things and try and see how we can best mitigate all of that stuff that we're seeing. We're also taking a look at the vegetation around our homes as well. So the stuff on our property, right? What are we planting around our homes, which is ultimately going to affect us in terms of wildfire, right? So taking a look at everything there. So for the Hollywood Hills, for the Lake Hollywood Estates, what we found is everyone has really good roofs here in terms of a Class A roof. And what a Class A roof is, it's kind of like school, right? A is good. You know, if you get A's, A's are good. B's, if you're like me, B's are also good. And then C's are passing, right? So those are the different classifications when it comes to roofs, right? So the best quality roofs are going to be a Class A roof that is going to be most resilient to a lot of fire. So we want a good high Class A roof. If you have a Class A roof that's old and poor condition, you're still going to be at risk. But we want a good conditioned roof that's well maintained, Class A, with minimal leaf litter and debris. And especially as we're coming into these big summer months, we want to try and clean that off as often as we can, right? I don't expect you guys to go up on a ladder and do it every single day, but at least maybe once a week, once every other week is kind of what we're talking about, especially as we're coming into these summer months. So in terms of roofs, everyone, about 75% of the community up here has a good Class A roof in good condition, which is good. When we talk about vent screening, so I talked about that 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch. About every, it was about on average 45 to 50% of homes here had about a 1/8 inch mesh screening. So that is something you can go home and kind of take a look at. And if you don't know what a 1/8 inch looks like, we have our booth over there and I can show you an example. But retrofitting your vents with a 1/8 inch mesh screen is going to be important to keep embers from either entering under the foundation of your home or entering into your attics. So to limit that as a possible exposure or limiting embers from entering that way. In terms of siding, so as another percentage of about 50% of homes have stucco siding, so that's a good start, but you might have stucco, and we saw it a lot here. We have stucco siding with decorative wood material, right? So, that's also a potential exposure. The wood is going to ignite and fail before the stucco does, but it's going to then impact the stucco that you currently have. So taking a look at the decorative wood that we have and potentially removing it or even stuccoing that, taking a look at that is going to be very important. When we look at attachments, so an attachment is one thing I forgot to talk about. Attachment is going to be like a wood fence, wood decking, anything that connects to the home. So for example, these stairs are a wooden attachment to the stage. So that is something that we're looking at as well. So there's a lot of wood fences that connect to the home. So it was about less than 25% of homes are in compliance with having no wooden attachments, which is pretty hard to do. I agree. But one thing you can do is potentially replace the first 5 feet of any wooden attachment, wood gate, wood fence to a metal non-combustible. And that is one way of mitigating that and getting that compliance up to a higher to make your community a lot more resilient. When we talk about windows as well, we want good dual pane windows, and the reason why we want dual pane tempered windows is because they are going to be able to withstand heat a lot longer and not fail as quickly. And when we talk about windows too, we are also talking about the window framing, the encasing, right? So you might have a dual pane window that's tempered, but with a vinyl casing. Vinyl, as I talked about with the gutters, is oil-based. It will melt off, and then your window will then fail. So we want to have a metal framing along those windows as well. Does that make sense? Perfect. So when we looked around, we found that about 50% of homes have dual pane windows, but it's going to be a mix of both, right? Dual pane and single pane. And the reason why dual pane lasts longer is because, well, one, tempered can withstand a lot more heat, but between both panes there is a thermal barrier. It's air, but they like to say thermal barrier because it sounds better, right, versus saying air. So there's a thermal barrier between both panes of glass. What that allows is for that front pane that is getting a lot of heat, it allows it to cool down, so it lasts a lot longer. And then when it does fail, you have another sheet that then is fresh and can last and then can withstand heat a lot longer than your single pane. And when it does break, it breaks into small little bits. You won't hurt yourself. Versus single pane, when it breaks into very sharp shards, which then can cut yourself if you're around the area or whatnot, or just kind of walking through. So that's something that we're looking for. We're also looking at, as I talked about, gutter and roof debris, so making sure we're cleaning off our gutters. I think, so that was another thing here. About 50% of homes had good cleaned off gutters. Another 50% were had a lot of leaf litter and debris. So if you're able to clean that off, if not getting a maintenance person or a garden keeper to come clean that off. And then the last thing is that we'll talk about in terms of this area, and I'll continue this throughout each area, but it's going to be zone 0, zone 1, and zone 2. And what that refers to is defensible space. Has anyone heard of defensible space before? A few hands, perfect. So what zone 0 is going to be that very first zone from 0 to 5 feet from your house or any structure. So that 0 to 5 foot from the wall out 5 feet, there should be no combustible material. So anything that can combust, such as vegetation, so that's really not feasible right now. So that's one thing that we're kind of discussing is that zone 0. So as you would assume, the zone 0, zone 1, and zone 2, everyone's kind of out of compliance with that, and that's the reality, right? We're trying to identify the stuff that we can focus in on to reduce the risk, which it's not a fault on you guys, but it's just ultimately trying to identify and educate you guys on how to better reduce your risk. One thing to note with zone 0, it's currently a law. It was passed in 2020 by Assembly Bill 3074. This is what it states is how I mentioned earlier. There should be no combustible material within 0 to 5 feet within your home. Those of you who have home insurance, if you're lucky, as you know, some insurers are enforcing that zone 0 because it is a law. The most recent update because of the January 7th fires, as of February of this year, Governor Newsom issued an executive order, that is Executive Order N-18-25. What this executive order enforces is for Zone 0 to be fully enforceable by the start of this next year, by January 1st, 2026, for new construction. So keyword new construction, right? So you guys are still good. So in terms of new construction, for those that are currently building, they have to abide by Zone 0 when they're developing that property as of January 1st. Any home that is being developed after January 1st, 2026 has to be in compliance with Zone 0. Now what this executive order also states is for the homes that are currently within the high fire severity zone, you guys have 3 years to comply. So you guys have to be in compliance by January 1st, 2029. Does that make sense? So that is what this executive order is currently going for. However, it's not law yet. It's still being discussed, but I just want to share this information to help educate you guys as much as I can. So I'm going to jump over to the Hollywood Knolls. So this is kind of the order of what we did, our threat assessments. With the Hollywood Knolls, I had the wonderful Charles with me, Brad, and Naomi. So we drove around, we took a look. The most common vegetation types over there are going to be pine, eucalyptus, California pepper, Chinese elms, ficus, oaks, jacaranda, and bay laurel. I won't go it's going to go a little quicker now since you guys know kind of the categories of what we look at. But so in terms of roof, as I would assume, everyone's roofs are in good standing order, right? Everyone has good standing Class A roofs. Vent screens. If you live within the Hollywood Knolls, please take a look at your vent screens because within that community, we saw that less than 25% of people were in compliance with it, which is okay. But this is just something to help emphasize in terms of taking a look at that. Siding, we found about 50% of homes were stucco siding or had stucco with wood attachments, so taking a look at that as well. Attachments as well, as I talked about wood fences, wood gates. That's another big thing I'd like to emphasize there. Same thing with windows, gutter, debris, and the zone 0s 1 and 2. A lot of this is going to be repeat because a lot of the communities have a lot of the same issues. So forgive me if I sound like a broken record. Now I'll talk about the Hollywood Manor. So the Hollywood Manor is a little bit tricky, right? Since the Hollywood Manor butts up against Universal. So there's going to be, and Hollywood Manor is a lot older in terms of a community, in terms of the structures there. So there was a little bit more that was found within the Hollywood Manor, but also they do a lot of good things right over there too. So the most common vegetation types are going to be eucalyptus, jacaranda, oak, and rosemary and Italian cypress. And the reason why rosemary and Italian cypress are so flammable, for lack of a better word, or so poor to have around your property is because rosemary, it's very oil-based, it's very resinous, right? That's how it gets that beautiful smell, aromatics, right, when we cook. So because of the oil that's in it, it burns very hot and very fast. With Italian cypress, it looks big and beautiful and green on the outside, and then on the inside, it's dead and woody and stuff. That burns very hot and fast. It's like a candlestick. So taking a look at possibly even removing those vegetation types is going to be beneficial to your property. If you live within the Hollywood Manor, the roofs, good. Everyone's, 75% compliance. Vent screenings was another big thing. Siding, another big thing in terms of wood siding with stucco. Wooden attachments, there's many wooden attachments with fences. Windows, roof gutter debris, and again, zone 0s 1 and 2. So I'm going to sound like a broken record, I'm sorry, but like I said, there's a lot of the common issues, which is okay. It's all about educating you guys and trying to show you guys what the issues are and how to then mitigate them. And lastly, with Lake Ridge Estates, I had Charles and Dan with me. The most common vegetation types are over there are ornamental pear, jacaranda, Chinese elm, ficus, and bougainvillea. The main thing why bougainvillea is a big issue, I'll talk about this plant type too, is because of how fast it spreads and because it's an ivy. So although it's green, all of the woodedness and how it latches on, that is very flammable. And its flowers, when it blooms and it drops those flowers, those leaves are very flammable and they dry out and it drops a lot. And bougainvillea, you can start it on a trellis and then within a month it's going onto the roof, right? It just goes crazy. So, and trimming it, make sure you have sturdy gloves or else it'll bite back because it doesn't want to burn, it doesn't want to go down. So in terms of the Lake Ridge Estates, roofs were 75% compliance. Everyone's solid over there. Vent screenings is another issue, siding, wood attachments, windows, and this was the first community that the roof and gutter debris was everyone. I didn't see a single roof that had leaf litter debris. So if you live inside the Lake Ridge Estates, give yourselves a round of applause. But ultimately, what I'm talking about today is just trying to educate you guys on our findings in terms of what to focus in on if you are within those communities. If you have any questions about our findings or if you have any questions about kind of what I talked about today, feel free to come over to my booth or talk to me. Or if you don't have a chance to reach out to me, reach out to Charles and you can get in contact with me that way. But I just want to thank you guys for your time. If you have any questions, I'll be taking them at our booth. But thank you.
Our next speaker is Jeff Zarrinam, who's the chairman of the Hollywood Sign Trust, along with Steve Nissin, who is the executive director, president of the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce. So they're going to talk a little bit about what we're doing up there by the sign to help protect it, but at the same time, whatever they do to protect it will also protect us. And that's the message for today. Whatever you do does not only improve your life and protect you, but it protects your neighbors and your neighborhood. So we're hoping that you get the message of home hardening out of this. And after this, we're going to go into some really great private sector vendors who have innovative and created products. And we've got products as far as from Australia that have been researched and developed over there. We've got fire coatings, we've got special lumber, etc. And then we're going to have some arborists talk about trees and fire suppressive plants. So, if you'd like to come up, Jeff and Steve.
So my name is Jeff Zarrinam. I'm the chairman of the Hollywood Sign Trust. For this little sign up on the hill, the primary mission of the sign trust is to take care of the sign, to do preventative maintenance, to secure the sign, to take care of the brush clearance around the sign, and also to promote Hollywood and to educate people about the sign and the mission of the trust. As everybody knows, or most people know in this area, that the sign was built in 1923 and it's now 102 years old and going strong in 2025. The reason why the Sign Trust was formed was because of the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce. The Hollywood Chamber of Commerce is the trustor of the Hollywood Sign Trust, and I'm a trustee. I'm one of 9 trustees on the Sign Trust, and and we're here to take care of the sign. But let me introduce my pal here from the Chamber of Commerce, Steve Nissin.
Hello, everyone. One of the things that we do at the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce is confer the stars on the Walk of Fame. So I'm used to being up on the podium with star power, good-looking celebrities.
Like me.
That's why I brought a good-looking star power celebrity, Piper the dog.
Yeah.
So as Jeff said, the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce is the trustor. No, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
Is a trustor and helps fund maintenance of the sign, and then Jeff and the trust do a wonderful job of making sure that it stays maintained. I'm actually wearing 3 hats today. One is as president and CEO of the Hollywood Chamber. 2, I'm a resident of this area, so I felt all the same concerns and fears that you all felt during the Sunset Fire and what was going on in early January. And 3, I'm also, in my role as president of the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, also president of its affiliated community foundation, which I'll talk about in a second. So I did what probably many of you did right after the Sunset Fire was out. I paid a visit to our local fire station on Cahuenga. And really kind of shocked to see, as I'm sure many of you were, that in front of the door of the garage where the fire truck was supposed to be, there was yellow police tape, "Do not enter." And when I went to visit the firefighters, they said, well, that police tape has been there for 10 months. And the fire truck couldn't park in the garage because the garage door was broken and the city didn't have the money or couldn't get around to funding a repair of a garage door. So the fire truck was parked next door. The ambulance then had to move several yards down the road. And can you imagine if somebody lost a house or their life because you couldn't fix a garage door? So like several of you, we sprung into action. We got our community foundation to start raising money. We raised about $100,000. Many of you, I'm sure, contributed to the fund that helped fix that garage door. But we learned there's so many other facility problems that our firefighters need to get fixed. And this isn't a knock on the city. The city's got 1,000 different priorities. But you can imagine if you don't fix the little things, big things happen that aren't good. So our foundation continues to fund and help facilities for the Hollywood-based fire stations that are here to protect all of us. And if you're feeling particularly charitable, then I invite you to visit the website, Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, and you'll see a special button to donate to the foundation. It's all tax-deductible charitable monies, and you can specify that money can go to assist our local firefighters and also honor them. So I just want you to know I feel all the same concerns that you feel about traffic and fire safety, because I live here, my dog lives here, my wife lives here, and we want this place to be safe and maintained so that we can always come to this park and other great places in this neighborhood and enjoy it safely. Back to Jeff Zarrinam.
Yeah, and not to compete with the Hollywood Community Foundation, but the Sign Trust is also a 501c3, and we have a donate button on our website, hollywoodsign.org. I also live in the area. I constantly look at the sign every day to make sure it's still standing and safe. Do we have any questions from the audience that we can answer about the sign? Yes. Yeah. Okay.
I just have a question about fireworks.
Fireworks.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are kids that come up here all the time and light them off and stuff. Why can't we do something about that, stopping that in the hills?
Well, I'm sure that fireworks are still illegal, right? And that would be an LAPD, LAFD type of thing to contact?
Yeah.
The Rangers.
But nothing...
The Sign Trust, it's beyond the purview of the Sign Trust.
Yeah.
Our mission is really to take care of the sign.
Got it.
But one of the things that we are focusing on we're looking to build a Hollywood Sign Visitor Center on the eastern side of the park to try to drive the tourists that come up here to a place where they can learn more about the sign, and then somehow from that area take them up to the sign using the back roads in Griffith Park, right? So I've been participating in a lot of working groups in this community and been listening to all of your voices and trying to come up with solutions like this. And it's a huge endeavor, but we're getting there. So we're working with Recs and Parks, we're working with the Chamber, we're working with the council offices in order to do that. So anyway, Sheila?
Yeah, I'll get this.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
The next two speakers that we have here are Lisa Smith from A Tree Resource. She is a licensed arborist, and we know that another pillar of being a fire-safe community is also examining and considering the landscape. And we also have Eric from the Theodore Payne Foundation, and this is one of the largest California native organizations in the city of LA, and I've been working with them for the past 10 years as well. And it's an honor and privilege to have both of these intellects to share the importance of your home property's landscape in addition to considering the landscape within our community. The floor is yours, Lisa Smith.
Thanks, Charles. Do I walk over here with this? Hold the hand? Okay. Hey, everybody. Oh, my gosh. So much good information. We're here to dispel myths. Everybody's freaking out. Me too. I lost my home in the Palisades. So, yeah, I'm a little stressed. But I'm going to give you a little background on me so you can believe what the heck I'm saying. So, again, Charles was so kind to introduce me. I'm Lisa Smith, and I'm a board-certified master arborist. I've been doing this 30 years. In the state of California over the last 10 years, we've had so many fires. I've written over 1,200 post-fire reports. From the campfires, I've been to Paradise, Sonoma, Napa, Santa Rosa, Woolsey Fire in Malibu, Thomas Fire in Ventura. I have seen a lot. And as a UCLA instructor in the landscape architecture program, I also teach how to plant and select vegetation and trees that can improve the beauty of our homes and our neighborhoods while reducing fire fuel. So, what have I learned? In that time, in addition to my knowledge of trees, vegetation, and tree management, I'm providing some scientific information. If you go to my table, you'll see a QR code, and you can pop that on your phone, and you'll get my little toolbox of great articles. And these are scientific articles. These are not made up by me or somebody just anecdotally, but from the UCs, CAL FIRE, all the various municipal entities. Hold 1 second. Bowie, sit. Sit, Bobby, sit. Sit. Good boy. Sorry, my poor dog. So, number one, this is what everyone has been saying today, and I'm going to say it again. Number one way to protect your home is to harden your home. Hate to break it to you, but trees don't cause fires. Okay? Harden your home. This will be the number one way. Reduce the ability for embers to get into your home. You walk around your house, check out your vents, check out your roof, check out your gutters, check out the base of your home, everything related to your home. You have so many of these resources here today to help you with that. That's the number one thing. Then number two is going to be getting into your vegetation, right? Trees are great. Trees are beautiful. Trees shade our home, create habitat. They increase our property values. They create beauty, aesthetics. We need trees. We don't want a scorched earth approach. So protect your trees, but the number one thing to do is to prune and maintain them and get the dead material out of your trees. Dead branches, dead twigs, dead leaves, any dead material. Every firefighter I've spoken with agrees with me. Every industry professional agrees with me. You have to keep your vegetation clean. I was just in Newport Coast last weekend, and HOAs have shrubbery this high, all green on the top, 4 feet of dead material. All the dead material underneath, every year the leaves drop and catch inside of that mystery mound of a shell of green. So walk around your property and see what's truly dead. That is where embers are going to catch, okay? So that's another thing. I want to see what else I have here. Now, people worry about mulch, leaf litter. Put gravel. Gravel's not good for your trees or your plants. Gravel is inorganic. Gravel crushes the soil and causes the soil to be compact. How do I have happy plants? Happy trees? Well, I always say happy roots, you'll have happy shoots. So you have to make sure that the soil is in good shape. A little bit of leaf litter is fine. Just don't let it get to 8 inches thick. I see that a lot under hedges. People are like, oh, it's so pretty. Look at it's all green. Great. But you have literally 10 inches of dead material inside your hedge. Get in there, clean it out, right? Reduce the fire fuel that you have. Do this quarterly. In the winter time's a great time to do it. We're at the end of the growing season. spring and summer, reassess. Is there a fire season anymore? No. We had January 7th and 8th, the biggest fires in Los Angeles in history, in the middle of the winter. Our weather is changing. We had 11 years of drought, mega drought, the biggest drought in history. Now trees are stressed. So go around, that's my message for you, is to go around and be intelligent about managing your vegetation. Do not rip everything out. Follow the LAFD, defensible space. Keep your trees skirted up. Keep your shrubs low. Keep everything maintained. Analyze. Go to my QR code. You'll have lots of resources there that you can reference. But walk around your property and start to think of it like, if embers came in, where are the embers going to land? What are they going to impact? My house, then my vegetation. How can I put the oxygen mask on myself first, go to my neighbors and help them, and then my community? Think locally, act globally. Okay, so that's about it. I'm just reiterating what everyone else said. Thank you. And this is Eric from the Theodore Payne Foundation. Woohoo!
Hi there, folks. My name is Eric Blank, and I work at the Theodore Payne Foundation. And we are located in Sun Valley, and we advocate for California native plants, the beauty and ecological benefits of those plants. Anybody know what this is? You probably can't tell from way out there. This is that. Coast live oak, Quercus agrifolia. This plant will, obviously, well cared for, will turn into a 30-foot ember catcher. I haven't heard that term used yet today. So this plant actually is quite hardy against embers and will extinguish those embers and help reduce the flow of embers towards your house. Have I said embers enough? Because don't be afraid of this tree, be afraid of the embers, okay? The embers are going to reach your house sooner or later, and that's why everybody keeps talking about hardening your home. That's number one. Even us, as plant enthusiasts, advocates, is that me dinging? It is. Even us who are plant people, we advocate for plants. We say start at the home and work your way outward, okay? Change your landscaping from sloping in towards the eaves of the house and start so when you walk out your door, you can see your garden sloping outwards. You want to create a defensible space around that home. Zone 0 is not the only zone. We have Zone 0, which is actually an afterthought after it came to light that first 0 to 5 feet is the most important area around your home. So we keep talking about Zone 0 because it's very important, but there's also Zone 1 and Zone 2. Okay? So I wanted to thank, I didn't even get a chance to get into my intro, but I wanted to thank the Hollywood Hills Wildfire, say it again. I always forget it. Fire Safe Council. This is an amazing event. This is the first one I've seen in the city like this. The MySafeL.A is going to put on another event in June, and I would attend that one as well. But it's very rare that we can get the collection of people here that provide the products, have the knowledge. I would also, so if you haven't picked up on it yet, it's a multi-prong approach. Don't demonize plants, because a well-hydrated plant is going to help, is very difficult to ignite. The firefighters will back me up on this. You don't want them leading up into the eaves of your house, but having a low stature, well-hydrated plant, well-manicured, is perfectly fine. I would also just like to say, don't be rash. Zone 0 has not been ironed out yet. Zone 0, the regulations on Zone 0 will come down at the 1st of next year, December 31st this year. But the 1st of next year, that's when we get the final instructions on Zone 0, okay? So be careful. You don't need to necessarily remove, especially if you have a live oak near your home within that first 0 to 5 feet, you don't want to remove that, okay? You want to talk to an arborist, somebody with some education about how to manage that tree and do it properly. So don't be rash. I didn't set my timer. You'll flag me, right, Charles? So what we want to do is work from our home outward and keep in mind that we keep our landscapes well hydrated, well maintained, clear out the dry material, and you can actually have an ecologically beneficial garden. You can actually bring in and support our pollinators, right? Our pollinators, our little flying things, our little crawling things, all of our buzzing things. You can still keep those around. Don't be afraid of native plants, because our native plants have actually evolved, co-evolved actually in this climate. So what they do is they're used to our natural rainfalls, and they hold on to moisture longer than plants that are from other areas that aren't used to this type of weather. Okay, so that's why the coast live oak is so difficult to ignite. Have you ever tried to put a wet log on a campfire? Can't light it, right? That's what that plant is. That's a wet log right there. Okay, so the coast live oak is just, I call it kind of the mother of all amber catchers, but there are other plants, tough-leaved, well-hydrated plants that you put out on the perimeter, more in Zone 2. Focus on Zone 2 for that. So Zone 2 will be your taller, tough-leaved, well-hydrated plants. They're catching the embers flying, okay? Zone 1, you're going to keep lower, statured plants, occasionally spaced trees, catch the rolling embers heading toward your home, okay? But the first thing you did was you hardened your home with your grates. You hardened the window seals, right? You're protecting the eaves, the grates, the mesh on your vents. So just keep this in mind, that there are known practices to create a beautiful garden, still maintain a beautiful garden, and protect your home at the same time. Let me see if I missed anything. We're right over there, by the way. We teach a lot of classes, a lot of our landscaping. I'm teaching a maintenance wildfire class coming up on June 21st. Hint, hint. Might be a freebie. I think it's a freebie. So just keep that in mind, and keep in mind that there's no one solution. It's a multi-layered approach. We're taking care of our home, we're taking care of our plants, we're taking care of our entire property, okay? And with that, we can feel a little more at ease that we're doing everything we possibly can. We support and we work with our knowledgeable people in the fire safe councils, all of that. Attend the MySafeL.A, what do they call those? Town hall meetings online, free. You can get the up-to-date information on what's going on with Zone 0. They're great. They come out every month and give us this information so that we are educated. So educate your opinions. It's very important, okay? So come see me, talk to us. I'll give you so much more information. It's so happy to be here. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so our second to last speaker is from Recreation and Parks. Our junior urban ecologist, Ryan Kinzel, is here to talk a little bit about what the park system is doing in Griffith Park, since this is our adjacent, this is Griffith Park right here. You're looking at it. Lake Hollywood Park is a part of the Griffith Park system. So what is going on with the park system, and seeing how we can do, and so seeing what is being done for the park system through the recreation parks. So Ryan? Okay, you got 10 minutes.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for having me here at the Wildfire Preparedness Fair. My name is Ryan Kinzel, and I am the Junior Urban Ecologist for the City of Los Angeles Department of Recreation and Parks. I'm just one of the many dedicated people we have working hard to keep our parks healthy, safe, and beautiful. Some of you might be wondering what exactly is urban ecology. Whenever I tell people what I do, that's usually the first question I get. Put simply, urban ecology is the study of the interactions between plants and animals and the city that surrounds them. Some of my duties as an urban ecologist include guiding restoration projects. I help to assess the impacts of human activities on our environment. And I work with communities to help foster a deeper appreciation for our parks. Most days, you'll find me at our neighbor, Griffith Park. It's one of the largest urban parks in North America and a true biodiversity hotspot. Griffith Park is home to over 400 different species of plants, 200 different birds, and around 40 different mammals. Our chaparral slopes, oak woodlands, and riparian corridors aren't just beautiful, but they provide valuable habitat for wildlife. They also act as natural buffers for our city's urban edge. So let's talk a bit about how we manage the plants, parks, and animals, especially when it comes to wildfire prevention. Healthy, diverse ecosystems are generally much better at fighting wildfire. They're more resilient, and they can bounce back much quicker after a fire occurs. Many of our native plants, like the gentleman from Theodore Payne Foundation mentioned, like the coast live oak, also California buckwheat, laurel sumac, those are all fire-adapted species. They can quickly resprout after a burn, and they help to stabilize soil to prevent erosion, and they also support pollinators and wildlife as the landscape recovers from a fire. That's why we really prioritize keeping our native plant communities in Griffith Park and our other regional parks healthy, because they're one of our best natural defenses against wildfire. For some of the best management practices that we follow at Griffith Park, first and foremost is vegetation management. So we focus our annual brush, oh, there goes my script. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. We focus our annual brush clearance efforts on invasive non-native species. This helps to reduce the fuel for wildfires while also supporting our native plant communities. We usually like to keep dead trees and fallen wood in wildlands and wildlands only, unless they pose a safety risk as assessed by our arborists. And this is because they provide really crucial habitat for wildlife in Griffith Park. For restoration projects, we use local seeds and plants, and we prioritize restoration in areas with existing high-quality habitat, because this helps to encourage natural regeneration and connectivity. When it comes to our many trails and visitors, we set some rules in sensitive habitats to prevent disturbance to wildlife. We maintain our trails to prevent people from accidentally trampling sensitive vegetation. And we also engage with the community. We do our best to educate people to stay on trail and to respect restoration areas. And we encourage everyone to use our parks responsibly. This includes disposing of your trash properly, following all fire safety regulations, and coming out and joining us at our wonderful community events such as nature hikes to really deepen our appreciation for these parks. I want to close by saying that protecting Griffith Park's unique ecosystems is a shared responsibility, as you've probably learned through the various wonderful speakers today. By following our best management practices, supporting restoration projects, and staying vigilant, we can make our parks more wildfire resistant and protect them for future generations. I encourage you all to stay informed, to support local conservation efforts and to be proactive about wildfire preparedness in your own neighborhoods. You can find out more information about our events on our Instagram at LA City Parks. And that concludes my speech. Yeah, thank you guys again for your time and for your dedication to wildfire preparedness.